Okay, YouTube live, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. It is Hanna time. We're getting started right now on this Good Friday playoff football weekend, NFL. Let's go. Let's get to it. We're going to go live on Facebook too in a second. Here we go. All righty, welcome back. Welcome back to Global Sports Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna, coming to you live from the GSBN Studios, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. This is Hanna time, and live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and live streaming on Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. All right, we got an NFL playoff weekend, football galore, and if you want your gold milk, let me know about it. I come across something really special for the winter. Gold milk. Nice and warm or hot, but I'll let you know more about it if you want to. But I got my cup right here. It's very good. Very, very good. All right, here we go. Sports talk show right now. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna. We got a lot of people popping in on this Friday. We got a lot to talk about. All right. We're live on YouTube and live on Facebook. Let's get to it. It's a crazy playoff scenario weekend with weather implications in one city alone. We'll get into the weather report and some windy cities that may have implications for field goals or passing the football. NFL playoff injury report, also an exclusive breakdown of each game, and some of these crazy playoff statistics that are fun to talk about, and just an FYI kind of thing as we go into a NFL divisional playoff football weekend. Here we go. Let's get to it right away. We want to get right into the injury report if you want to or not. This is a big deal because right now, Houston Texans wide receiver remained limited in practice yesterday for the Houston Texans. Will Fuller, groin injury. He's been battling injuries for quite some time. A special breaking news announcement coming out right now that the New England Patriots, Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator, once was a head coach for the Denver Broncos, is interviewing with the Browns for the head coaching position today and could close it out today. Josh McDaniels seems to be one step closer to becoming the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Does Tom Brady follow Josh McDaniels to Cleveland? Pay attention if McDaniels becomes the head coach. That's just coming across right now. More injury report. Real quick, we'll get through it. According to NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, the Vikings plan to keep Adam Thielen questionable with his ankle injury. It was cut during practice, a severe cut, but they keep him questionable entering the game against the 49ers tomorrow. Mark Andrews, Baltimore Ravens tight end, is questionable for the game tomorrow night against Tennessee. Mark Ingram, running back, question about his calf, still is questionable. He did practice, but a limited practice on Thursday. Keyword limited. They expect him to play tomorrow night. It's going to be damp. I wouldn't say rainy, but windy in Baltimore. We'll get more into that report a little bit later on. More news coming out. Coaching news. Wow. Let's see here. Dolphins quarterback coach Jim Cardwell and former Redskins OC have emerged as candidates for the Eagles' opening offensive coordinator position. That's breaking down right there. Green Bay Packers running back Jamal Williams' shoulder was a full participant this week. He looks like he is ready to go. Travis Kelce's knee limited in practice this week, but he's ready to go also. And Stephon Diggs, Vikings, said they are optimistic that his illness, he'll be fine for tomorrow's game against the 49ers in San Francisco. Odori Jackson, Tennessee, he returned to practice this week. He's fine. He's ready to go against the Baltimore Ravens. And that is your really the only injury report at this point that is updated with the latest news. We'll hear more today. We'll hear more today about all of the other potential injuries on the official injury report that is due out today. All right, let's say hello to more people popping in on YouTube and on Facebook Live. We got Choo Choo in the house. We got Jacqueline in the house. Good morning. Thank you. Thank God it is Friday. What a long week it was, okay? Hey, do you have your gold milk out? I got my gold milk right here. I'll talk about that. I love it. It's hot. It's good. It's yummy. And makes you feel good. All right. Scotty in the house. We got Bob in the house. We have Dawn in the house. Dawn from the UK. There she is. We got I got more people. Jerry, Stephen Harris. We got Dialana in the house. Elenia in the house. Via. Sade in the house. That's Miss Tate. She's always inspiring girl. And I got more people at the top. I don't want to miss everybody. But let's get to it. Howard, how are we doing, Howard? If you want to get your car checked out, if you want to get your tires changed, one of the greatest mechanics in the Valley, check out Howard. He's right there. Click on his profile on Facebook and go to his one of his 6 locations in the Valley, all over the Valley. I'm not going to put the name out because there's other franchises like his, but his shops are great. So go on Howard's Facebook, check him out, click on his stuff, and tell him that Cornelius Brad Hanna sent you. Anyway, he's a great man. Really is a great guy. And his wife, too. I'm telling you, they're about the community, beautiful people, and that's the kind of mechanic and service you want when your car is brought in because you always worry about it. Go check out Howard. Trust me, people. And I'm not getting paid for that. He's just a good guy, and I want to give love back to a guy who gives a lot of love. All righty. Let's get back in some loving football talk. Okay? We went through the injury report just now. How about some of this stuff with playoffs? Okay, number 6 seeds in the conference championship games. All right, so we have a couple of 6 seeds in the playoff divisional games this weekend, the Vikings and the Titans. Okay? Now, if you're wondering about the 6 seeds and how far they went and how far they got, is the 2010 Green Bay Packers were the last team to do it by being a 6 seed and winning the Super Bowl in Dallas. The New York Jets in 2010 were also a 6 seed. They lost in the AFC Championship game in 2010. Baltimore Ravens in 2008 were an AFC number 6 seed, but lost in the AFC Championship game. In 2008, the Philadelphia Eagles were a 6 seed and lost the NFC Championship game in 2000. Am I right about that? Yeah, they lost in 2008. And in 2005, the first team to be a 6 seed to win a Super Bowl were the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2005. So if you're a 6 seed, there's a lot of recent history of getting to the championship game and even winning it. If you win your championship game, hey, you got more history. Both teams that won their championship game, got to the Super Bowl, and won the Super Bowl. So there you have that. More tidbits about divisional playoffs. Teams with the most postseason wins in NFL history. Think about all the Super Bowls, right? And all the Super Bowl dynasties and all that good talk, right? Well, 37 wins by the New England Patriots. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 36, Dallas Cowboys at 35, the Green Bay Packers at 34, and San Francisco at 30. The Packers can match the Steelers with a couple of wins. Actually, they can match the New England Patriots by winning outright and winning the Super Bowl and get to 37 wins. All those teams have combined, let me do it again in my math, of I think 27 Super Bowls. Let's see, Pittsburgh, New England is 12 total. Dallas and San Fran has 10 there. That's 22. Yeah, 26 Super Bowls out of all the Super Bowls between New England, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay, and San Francisco. Now, they forgot about the New York Giants that are in there. They have 4 Super Bowls, so you can add another team that's 30 total out of the, let's see, 7 teams that I just came up with have a total of the 30 Super Bowls. That's, wow. You would talk about parity, but when you win Super Bowls, obviously you enter the greatness stage and dominance stage, okay? But then again, you don't have to be a dynasty to win a Super Bowl. Another side of that story. So less than half, almost half of the league winning Super Bowls are not dynasties. Now, the Miami Dolphins went to 3 in a row, okay? Now, it would be nice to see the Vikings get there because they've lost 4 Super Bowls. My dream Super Bowl this year was Buffalo against the Vikings because both those teams lost 4 Super Bowls, never won anything, and somebody was about to win their first one. I thought that would be a good storyline with a lot of history into it, okay? But it didn't happen. But the Vikings are still out there. So I have that little purple heart in me right now where I want to see the Vikings finally overcome and get it done. Okay? And I'm not a bandwagon thing. I got to find a team to root for, right? So I'm leaning on the Vikes. All right? I got to blow a horn. All right? I blew a couple of horns. How about that? All righty. Moving on. More people popping in. Want to say hello to you, say hi, bring your comments in there. Hey, Howard, thank you. You rock too, my man, Howard Fleischman. Check him out, folks. Thank you, Howard. Let's see. Luis Sharp in the house. Hey, Luis. Say hi to Howard. Remember we did a show at one of Howard's auto shops. Luis. Okay. Also, Nicole in the house. Jennifer in the house. All right, guys. Having a good Friday, football Friday. Let's move it along. More numbers there. Players with the most rushing yards in their first 4 career postseason games. Terrell Davis did it, 515 yards. Awesome. Arian Foster, not winning a Super Bowl, 515 yards. Fred Taylor, Jacksonville Jaguars. They got awfully close in that era of the Jacksonville Jags. Never got to the Super Bowl, but 493 yards. John Riggins, right? Washington Redskins, MVP. 474 yards. 474 yards, right? Then Eric Dickerson, 470 yards. And at the bottom, moving up, with one big game tomorrow night against Baltimore, Derrick Henry will launch himself in that top 5 category of those great running backs that have had the most rushing yards in their first 4 career postseason games. This will be Derrick Henry's 4th game Saturday night in Baltimore. He's got 366 yards, and he'll top it if he has the game he needs. Jacksonville will win the game. They should win the game because it definitely is a big factor, key factor, Tennessee and Baltimore Saturday night. Okay, more coming up. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Both these guys are under the age 25 and under. It's not too often that you get 2 quarterbacks that are young playing in postseason on the same day, same field, same stadium, right? Going at it head to head. Watson and Mahomes. To me, these are the future of the NFL, mostly Mahomes because of his ability. All right? Let's go all the way back to 1985, where Dan Marino beat the Cleveland Browns, where 2 quarterbacks that day were 25-year-olds and younger. 1985. Dan McMahon went on to the Super Bowl that year. Minnesota Vikings did it with their quarterback, Dante Culpepper. They beat New Orleans 34-16, falling short of the Super Bowl. And Mahomes and Watson are trying to be the 3rd combination of younger than 25 years old to play each other in a playoff game in the NFL. The winner of that game, well, one made it to the Super Bowl, Dan Marino, and Dante Culpepper did not. Doesn't guarantee you anything, but it is historic. It's the changing of the guard of young quarterbacks in the NFL, and this is just another indicator that we're emerging into a new era, or it has arrived in the NFL. All right. Rookies with the most postseason receiving yards in the NFL history. Postseason. Torrey Holt, 1999. The St. Louis Rams, 242 yards. Austin Collie. Who is Austin Collie? Yes, Austin Collie, 241 yards, just 1 yard short. He played for the Colts with Peyton Manning. Deshaun Jackson, Eagles, 2008. He had 207 yards. Steven Junker, 1957. Man, that's a heck of a, wow, timeline. 2001 yards. And Denver Broncos with John Elway, Ricky Nattiel, 171 yards. And at the bottom of that category, we're keeping an eye on DK Metcalf of Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks rookie wide receiver is now part of a class of other rookies with the most postseason receiving yards in NFL history. Torrey Holt, Collie, Jackson, Junker, Nattiel, and now DK Metcalf with 160 receiving yards. If he has another big day, big night against the Packers, he may just be the number one overall. If he has 100 yards receiving against the Packers, he breaks the rookie record of most receiving yards in a rookie season in the postseason. DK Metcalf. How did anybody pass up on DK Metcalf? Man, some people are scratching their heads. More news about the NFL postseason. Some fun statistical numbers. The players with the most career postseason rushing touchdowns in NFL history. Emmitt Smith has 19. Franco Harris and Franco's Army with Pittsburgh, 16. Thurman Thomas with that Buffalo Bill, 4 straight Super Bowls without a win, 16 rushing touchdowns. Terrell Davis with the Broncos, 12 rushing touchdowns. John Riggins with the Redskins, 12 rushing touchdowns in career postseason play. All right, one more. Marshawn Lynch, who has made a comeback as the running back for the Seattle Seahawks, has 10. If he gets 2 more against the Packers, he will join Davis and Riggins with 12, with the most rushing touchdowns in NFL history in postseason play. All right, say hi to more people. I got more fun comments and more fun statistical playoff numbers. Let's say hi to more people. I got Jennifer in the house. Candy going on there. We got Todd. And let me see. What's going down, everybody? Yes, Garrison Hurst. Where'd he come from? Candy says, go Chiefs. Dan, Felix, Angel, hello. Michelle Alford, hello. Up in the Northwest. Scotty Steven, Danny Rogers, hello. Appreciate you guys popping in. All right, moving on. Say hi to more people on YouTube real quick. Marilyn, how you doing, Marilyn? Good job. Is that Esteban? Oh, Esteban. How you doing, Esteban? Thank you for popping in on YouTube. Let's move it along. More about the NFL playoffs. Peyton Manning, 40 for the 4th most postseason touchdown passes in NFL history. Okay? Peyton Manning had 40. Okay? But that's not the big number. Tom Brady leads all quarterbacks in the most career postseason touchdown passes in NFL history. A smashing 73. Behind him is his idol, Joe Montana, with 45. Behind Montana at 3 is Green Bay and Minnesota Viking playoffs. Brett Favre with 44. Peyton Manning has 40 with the Colts and the Broncos. And at 36 Aaron Rodgers of the Packers can somehow find his way up the ladder a little bit. He needs a big day to get to 40. If he throws four touchdown passes to get to 40 and join Peyton Manning in that list of top 5 quarterbacks in all-time, or top 4 quarterbacks in all-time history with touchdown passes thrown in postseason play. All right, moving on. What do we got here? We're going to go to the weather report. Let's go to the weather report. Here is the weather report for these games this weekend. We have a big game in San Francisco, the Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. If you're going to the game or you're going to watch the game, you're going to bet the game, here's something to think about. There are winds at 18 miles per hour. The humidity at 70%. The temperature will be at 55 degrees, let's see, as a high. So during the game, around 55 degrees. So not cold, but the humidity is going to be up with some weather that passed through. But at the same time, it's going to be windy. It's going to be a windy game that can affect the passing game. It affects also the kicking game, punting, and field goals. Keep an eye on that. Who has the better kicker? Who can kick in weather? Minnesota has a kicker that kicks indoors, where Gould for San Francisco played in Chicago, very windy place, and also San Francisco, where he can maybe deal with it better. Don't know the elements of that stadium in San Francisco or Santa Clara, where how the wind moves around that stadium. I would pay attention to this on game day if you're a betting person or whatever you're going to do to root for. Pay attention to the wind and how it affects and the reports coming out, and maybe it changes. Maybe the weather changes and the wind calms down. But at this point, a windy day in San Francisco tomorrow for the football game between the Vikings and the Niners. Baltimore, Saturday night, prime time against the Tennessee Titans. There is weather in the Northeast that's moving through. For Baltimore and that region of the area near Washington, D.C., Maryland, they're going to get the bottom half of this storm. As of right now, they're calling it to be cloudy. Cloudy with the moisture precipitation at 10%. So no rain involved, but the temperature is going to be 67 degrees. It's not going to be uncomfortable, cold, chilly weather. The wind could be a factor, 13 miles per hour at this point. Got to keep an eye on that too. But for Tennessee, who is used to this type of weather also, it fits them well. The field conditions should be fine. Comfortable, cloudy day, Saturday night in Baltimore. I don't think anything other than the wind will be a factor, if not in Baltimore. 13 miles per hour. That's all you're going to get so far at this point. Let's go to the next day, Sunday, weather report, Kansas City. This is a doozy. This is cold. And these games on Sunday are going to have cold games. All right. Now, 37 degrees is not cold, not too cold. For Houston, they play indoors, the Texans. That could be a factor. The precipitation is at 20% because there's a possibility of snow or rain, but a low percentage of that. The wind is about 9 miles per hour at this point. On Saturday, tomorrow, a big storm passes through Kansas City. A lot of snow is going to hit. Cold Saturday. On Sunday, it's going to warm up a little bit to the mid-30s. Clouds, cold, yes. Chance of rain or snow, slightly, depending on the storm that is passing through or coming through the area, if it lingers on or stalls. That's all you got to watch, but pay attention. I don't think it's going to be a major factor by game time. But there you have it. All right, Green Bay. They're playing Sunday night, which means it's going to be cold when the sun goes down. The advantage could go to Green Bay because of the weather, but we've seen Green Bay lose cold weather games in the past. So don't give me the frozen tundra Green Bay factor. I don't believe it. Seattle plays in weather all the time, but it's going to be cold. It's going to be 23 degrees. Okay? There's no snow in the forecast. They had a lot of snow yesterday, and it piled up, but the field will be ready. The field will be cold. The fans will be cold. It'll be a great environment, but I don't believe it's going to affect Seattle or Green Bay unless somebody out there doesn't know how to handle the cold. We'll find out what player. There's no precipitation is at 10%, and that's like a default when it comes to moisture in the air. The wind, no factor at 6 miles per hour. So there you have it. You have your entire weather report on a Friday. We got 2 more days for the Green Bay Kansas City game. Keep your eye on the weather report for tomorrow's games in Baltimore and San Francisco. The wind seems to be a factor. Could be worse or better. We'll find out. But keep an eye on that one too, okay? There's your weather report in those areas of NFL football on Sunday. More comments coming in. Let's say hi to you all right there. I want to say hi to, let's see, I go to my bottom of my list. Here we go. We got Dan. I got Felix. I sent you guys. Hi. How you doing? Scotty, Danny, I got you. Tim Romain in the house. JT in the house. There's Betsy in the house. Lucy in the house. Wilson Valenti in the house. How you doing, Will? Lucy says good morning. I say hi back. Dawn says, she says hello to Lucy. Oh, no, Dawn, you said hi to me already. How you doing? I'll be watching the Chiefs game with my aunt and family with my aunt here in Kansas City. That is Todd in Kansas City. That's nice, Todd. Go Chiefs. Fidel in the house. Hey, Fidel, how you doing, buddy? It's going to be very windy in San Francisco. If you haven't heard the report, he's a San Francisco 49er fan, professional fighter, boxer, Fidel. 55 degrees, game time. Wind is at 18 miles per hour in San Francisco. And I felt the Niners field goal kicker has the advantage because he's played in Chicago and he's been in San Fran. But let's see how he handles it compared to the Vikings kicker who is indoors and punter. The punters themselves. Which way is that wind blowing? And if it's blowing in your face, then the wind's going to hold that ball up and you're not going to get a 50, 60-yard punt. It's going to go 30 yards. We don't know how much and which way is it blowing, left to right or straight on. We got to pay attention to that. 18 miles per hour is a pretty good number. And it will have an effect at some point tomorrow's game. San Francisco and Vikings. All right. Let's talk about that game further. Let's talk about that game. All right. So let's see. The last time these guys played was last season. Vikings won 24-16. Okay. The all-time series is dead even, 23-23. Nobody's has the advantage. Vikings have won the last 4 out of the last 5 times they met. But this is a new, different San Fran team in the recent years. Okay. The playoff records are different. San Francisco has won 30 out of 50 games. The Vikings are 21-29. Okay. Common opponents. So let's give you a breakdown of this game. So both these teams played Atlanta, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, and Washington. San Francisco has beaten those teams 4. They're 4-2, where Minnesota's 3-3. Points for and points against. San Francisco's averaging 30 points a game. That is huge. Giving up 19 points a game. So they're solid in that area. Minnesota putting up points, 25 points a game, giving up 19 points a game. So there is really no real big advantage other than maybe home field. Yards, both these teams are even. About 381 in San Fran, 353 for Minnesota. Passing-wise, let's say this. Kirk Cousins and Garoppolo are having a great year. Cousins is at a 107.4% quarterback rating, where Jimmy Garoppolo is at 102. So quarterback shouldn't be a problem. Let's see who doesn't make the mistakes. Running the football, the Niners have been strong all year long running the football, but they have had injuries. But they still find a way. But they have injuries at the offensive line that hurts them too. That can still be a problem against that defense of Minnesota. Dalvin Cook, he's healthy. He's ready to play. And they also have a good backup in Minnesota. So I give the advantage to the Vikings because of their offensive line and their running backs. I don't know about the Niners' offensive line running the football. Passing the football may be like a 60 to 40% for the 49ers tomorrow. Stephon Diggs is their best receiver in Minnesota. George Kittle, the tight end for San Francisco. The defense for San Francisco is good. They're healthy for the most part. They got some nagging injuries, but they're pretty much closer to being healthier than hurt the way they were 2 weeks ago. Their defense has given up 282 points or yards a game, where Minnesota's defense has given up 341. That's alarming. Their defense in Minnesota needs to find a way, or the Niners defense can take over this game. Sacks, Danielle Hunter of the Vikings, 14.5 sacks. Armstead for the Niners, 10. Interceptions, Sherman has 3. Harris has 6. Takeaway, giveaway, +4 for the 49ers, a +11 for the Vikings. That is a big number and an important number with a defense that struggles or not as good as the Niners, but taking the ball away much better could be a key factor in that football game. This is a doozy of a football game. I'm not quite sure who really wins it, but you have to lean on the Niners with home field advantage as being division winners and all that. But the Vikings are coming in with an attitude and a different demeanor. If the weather is not a factor tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon in San Francisco, the Vikings will be in it to the end. And remind everybody that the games are been decided by 8 points or fewer in the last 27 NFL postseason games. I do not believe this is going to change for this matter, okay? The last time San Francisco won the division was back in 2012. This is Shanahan, the head coach's first postseason game as a head coach, okay? More news about playoffs for Minnesota. This is let's see, they qualified for the postseason. Let's see, 6 times when they have won 10 games. This is the second time the past 3 years. So they're a solid football team. Mike Zimmer has won 8 games, 5 of his last 6 seasons as a head coach of the Vikings. When it comes to postseason, though, they have had some tough luck. They lost and got blew out by the Eagles 2 years ago, and last year they fell short. This is maybe a redemption postseason for the Vikings, okay? For the Vikings itself. All right, let's move on to the next. We got more numbers here. Look at this. I'm going to bypass that. That's a little too much. But I will say this. The George Kittle, 2,945 receiving yards, is in his first 3 seasons as a Niners tight end is the most in NFL history in the first 3 years. But the key factor for this game is going to be the big dog in Minnesota. Dalvin Cook rushed for 1,000 yards and 500 receiving yards. Okay, that is the single season best in team history over Chuck Foreman and Ted Brown. So that's the key factor for that offense because it's going to help Kirk Cousins play action. More breakdown of this football game. We got three more games to go to talk about, okay? Let's see here. Going to scroll down to the bottom. The 49ers won the West for the first time since 2002. Okay? That's a long time in Niner history. This is their time and this is their era. They are built to win for now. They are built to win for the next 3 to 4 years. It starts now with this organization. But they have a formidable opponent in the Vikings who are and have been knocking on the door to get back to a Super Bowl the last few years. They are strong. Their quarterback has emerged. And if Kirk Cousins pulls off another victory, I believe we close the door on Kirk Cousins' stigmatism of not being a winner. He's already won a playoff game, and you got to give him credit on the road. But if he can pull off one more victory in San Francisco against this team that everybody is giving them a Super Bowl berth, I do believe Kirk Cousins deserves a lot more credit from this point on. I hope it happens for Kirk Cousins, for his sake. All right, next game, tomorrow night, Baltimore and Tennessee. I got to get my gold milk. It's nice and hot, too. You want to know about gold milk? Ask me. I'll let you know. I'm not going to bring it up. I got my little gold lip right now, baby. Tastes good, too. All righty. Let's get into the next game. I'm dealing with allergies and like whatever. It feels like a cold, but I'm doing all my holistic stuff. But this gold milk is kicking butt, man. I'm loving it. Ooh, I can have it all day long. All right. Baltimore at home. They have more pressure to win and win it all because of their season. They've been given the keys to the Super Bowl. Their only deal is opening up that door. They got a couple of doors to open up to get there. But they got a Tennessee Titan team that is very similar in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, they're very similar. And that is they run the ball well. They have a quarterback that makes passes and completes passes in Ryan Tannehill. Okay? Playoff record, Baltimore is good, 15-9. Tennessee is 16-20 in their history. That includes the Houston Oilers when they used to live in Houston. And they were once called the Oilers. All right. Common opponents. Both these teams are 4-2 against the common opponents that they played during the season. They're 4-2. Okay, they both, let's see, who lost to what? Baltimore lost to Cleveland and they lost to Kansas City, where the Titans beat Kansas City and beat Cleveland. But they lost to Houston and Buffalo, where Baltimore beat Buffalo and beat New England. Go figure who wins this game. Offensively, the numbers by the Ravens are big. They're well over 400 yards on offense, total yards. Tennessee, not bad, 363. Okay, that's basically like a 3-point difference on offense, meaning the Ravens have a 3-point difference on offense. If you're looking at it that way. Lamar Jackson having a nice year. Okay, 113 quarterback rating, while Ryan Tannehill 117. Okay, Derrick Henry leads the league in rushing as a running back. Mark Ingram, 1,000-yard runner. We don't know if Ingram is going to be 100% or not with that calf injury. They say he's ready to go. Defense, the Ravens defense is giving up 300 yards a game. Their offense is compensating for that defense for a big deal. It's a big deal because 300 yards are 3 touchdowns. But when you're putting up 400 yards, that's 4 touchdowns. So mathematically, you're going to win most of the time because you're always in my eyes, 7 points ahead in every game going into with that offense and that defense. Now, here's the catch. The Titans are 360 yards on defense. So they're both offense and defense 360. They're going to put up 3 touchdowns on the Ravens tomorrow. Or it's going to be close to 20 points. I'm seeing this game right around 20 points. Whoever gets to 21st probably wins this game. I know the Ravens defense gets a lot of publicity about their turnovers. They are second in the plus minus turnover category at a plus 10. And that's where it's good and it changes the dynamics of the playing field. And that helps your offense score more points, eliminating your other opponent to have a chance to score, right? So that is huge. But the Titans are a plus 6. So both these teams know how to get the ball and take it away. But I cannot ignore and watching the Ravens defense. They do give up points and they do allow teams to go down the field on them. Their offense is so overwhelming that it compensates some of those blind spots on that defense that you have in Baltimore. The big mistake with the Baltimore Ravens is too much emphasis on Derrick Henry, and I believe they have to. They stop him, then they can force and get the game in their hands and get a lot of points on the board where they just make Tennessee one-dimensional. But that goes for the same thing for the Titans. They stop the running game, they can make the Ravens one-dimensional. Easier to defend. But Ryan Tannehill, to me, is underrated. And he's going to surprise the Ravens tomorrow and make some big throws to some big-time wide receivers. A.J. Brown, the rookie, is their leading receiver. He is big, tall. And I don't know if anybody on that defense can match up man-to-man physically with that guy. But he's not the only one. Davis is another big wide receiver for Tennessee. There are matchup problems for the Ravens in that secondary tomorrow because of the big, tall, speedy wide receivers for Tennessee. The balance of attack, I believe, will be okay for Tennessee tomorrow. Let the game play out. If it's a close game, you have to worry if you're Baltimore. If it's close, you have to worry. All right, moving on with this game. The kicking game is going to favor the Ravens all the way, for sure. Okay? The big sack guys in the game are going to be Matthew Judon, 9.5 sacks, but Harold Landry, 9 sacks for the Titans. So, everybody talks about Raven defense, but we got some ballers on Tennessee too. Moving on with this game. Ravens have won the AFC North for the second consecutive year. That's the first time in their history going back-to-back. Okay? This is the 8th career postseason appearance for John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Ravens. Led Baltimore to the Super Bowl championship in 2012, winning it all against San Francisco. Baltimore had 12 All-Pro or Pro Bowl players named to this year. And from the other side, the Tennessee Titans won their playoff game for the second time in the past 3 seasons last week. Won 9 games for the 4th consecutive time this year. Aimed for their first conference championship game since 2002. Mike Vrabel won his first postseason game against the Patriots last week as a head coach. And for the Tennessee Titans, only 2 players named to the Pro Bowl this season. All right, let's move it on. Next game. Oh, let's say hi to more people here. I can't keep you all out of the loop. Okay, we got comments coming in. Levon in the house. We got Cruz. We got Micah Barlow in the house. Micah and Levon. Fidel says nothing finer than a female Niner. All right. Warren Knopp in the house. Jesse Berggang Hoover in the house. Jesse Felix says going for the Ravens. CB Hallwood in the house. Cecilia Lurera. Is that Shanklin in the house? Hello, Cecilia. How are you? All right, let's get back to the other game. I got to get more of my gold milk going. I got to drink my gold milk, man. I got my allergies going. I don't know what the hell's going on. But, that was good. That was a good one. Tennessee Titans and Baltimore tomorrow night. Cold, not quite. 67 degrees, cloudy, windy, about 12, 13 mile per hour winds. That could be a factor in Baltimore, but no real major factor with cold. It's going to be very comfortable tomorrow night in Baltimore, Tennessee, and the Ravens. All right. Let's see. The next game is on Sunday after tomorrow. Houston at Kansas City. Both these teams have great records, 11-6, including the playoff for the Texans. Kansas City won 12 games. Okay. Just going to look at this quickly here. Both these teams have losing records in postseason play. The Chiefs are 10-19. And a lot of those 10-19 games have come at home. They have not done well at home in the playoffs. On the road, they don't do well at all. For Houston, they're trying to get somewhere they haven't gotten to. The AFC Championship game. Now, the Houston Oilers and the city of Houston witnessed that some time ago, back in the 70s, losing a few of those AFC Championship games. For Houston Texans, trying to get back on the road in Kansas City to an AFC Championship game, got a big task. The weather, 37 degrees, going to be cold. No wind, no snow, but it's going to snow. And yeah, it's going to have some weather between now and tomorrow in Kansas City. But on Sunday, no problem. Offensively, both these teams are pretty much even when it comes to offensive yards. 379 for Kansas City, 362 for Texans. Common opponents. Kansas City is 9-2 against the same teams that Houston played. But Houston 7-4. Who do they lose to? Kansas City lost to the Colts, and they lost to Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans. Could be a matchup in the AFC Championship game. For the Texans, they lost to Tennessee. They lost to the Colts and Denver and Baltimore. Not great. Now, points for and points against. Kansas City is averaging 28 points a game. Houston Texans are averaging 24 points a game. Defensively, Kansas City's only given up 19 points on defense. A number that you would think would be a little bit higher, knowing what's going on over the last few years. It's a sleeping giant in Kansas City with that defense. A giant meaning because they don't talk about their defense anywhere other than Kansas City. For Houston, their defense gives up points, averaging 24 points a game. Now, this is playoff football, and for every one of these 4 games this weekend, defense gets better. I don't believe anybody has a huge advantage on defense unless the other team just happens to give up the ball, play lousy, penalties, things that just the other part of the game that you don't want to see, that you are going into it knowing that everybody's going to play a good game, no penalties, none of that crap goes on, no turnovers. So that's how you have to look at these games. But as the games are played out, we know there's penalties. There are probably going to be some turnovers, and that changes the game. Special teams will change the game, and we don't talk about that enough. But those 3 elements right there, turnovers, penalties, and special teams. Whoever wins those 3 categories in any sport that you are competing in wins the game for the most part. For the most part, yes, like high percentage. And you cannot predict that because it has to be played out. You can look at, who has the most penalties, and that is a problem. And those are always issues. But until it happens on game day, that will change the dynamic of a game, play to play, quarter to quarter, half to half, beginning to end. All these games. So we have to just take it as what we see and what we know. But we cannot predict penalties. We cannot predict the turnovers. Okay? And special teams. Keep that in your mind. Don't forget that. Okay, Deshaun Watson and Mahomes. Both these guys having a good year. Deshaun Watson's numbers are slightly down, 98% compared to Mahomes' 105. Watson's still good, but he does throw the INT. Mahomes doesn't quite throw the INT, only 5. Watson has thrown 12. Not horrible, but he's thrown 12. Running the football for Kansas City, not the greatest. Damian Williams is a good running back, but he has moments that are great, and then they disappear with their running game. For Houston, Carlos Hyde, 1,000-yard runner, has to have a good game, the running game, for Houston to help out Deshaun Watson, because they don't want to get in a shootout with Kansas City's offense and their offensive weapons. DeAndre Hopkins of Houston needs to show up in the postseason. Needs to play some ball, and they got to find a way to get this guy involved because he's good. Cannot do what he did last week and disappear for most of the game. That nearly cost him the victory. Because he's a big part of that offense. Huge part. Travis Kelce, the tight end, huge. He's going to be a key factor because it opens up the middle of the field. That tight end, the position itself, has changed the game forever because it is a weapon that wasn't used before until New England mastered it with Gronkowski. Because with the tight end, like Kelce, and the other great ones in the league that are playing in the postseason, it opens up the middle of the field. So that means the wide receivers can get downfield to open up the middle short area. Okay? And if you're focusing so much on the short, within 20 yards or 10 yards, then you can throw it over the top. And Mahomes likes to throw the deep ball. Be ready. The running game for Kansas City is stable, and if it's effective at any level tomorrow, this could be the blowout game. This could be the blowout game because if Houston does not come out of the gates strong and fast and get ahead, this could go fast in the wrong direction for Houston. Because Mahomes can put up the points with that offense. They're balanced in a lot of ways. This is the only game I see potentially it could go boom, gone, over with by halftime. Or you kind of know what's going to happen. Now, Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. There's one ingredient that I have to give the guy and that team. They make comebacks. And if they're being blown out, don't be surprised. Not blowout, but, 27-10, 27-14, second half, and you're going, this is over, right? That's still not out of the question for Houston because they find ways to get back in the game. They may not win it, but they get back in it. So for Kansas City, you better put this away because Houston finds ways to get back into games. Games that you think they're losing, they're going to lose. Then you look up and they got the ball with a chance to tie. Like, what just happened there? Last week, they were down 16-0. This is just one example. 16-0 to Buffalo. They were out of that game. They should have been done fast and furiously out. You cannot let that happen again, Houston, with Kansas City on the road. You will be knocked out, and you will be fast and furiously out. That's the scenario. Both these teams have guys that get after the quarterback, not at a high level, but good. Team effort-wise, they got some leaders, but nothing to brag about. Leading the team in interceptions, Tyrann Mathieu of Kansas City has 4. Gibson has 3 for Houston. The takeaway giveaway. This is a biggie. Houston is at a 0. Now, not bad. They're even. But Kansas City, known to take the ball away, is at a +8. And at home. A lot of things indicate blowout. Potential blowout. And I'm going to put it out there that it's potential. Of all the games, this is the one I see potentially could go upside down for Houston. Weather-wise, 37 degrees. It's going to be a little nippy. Indoor game. No, it's not for Houston. You got to go outdoors and play in the elements. Let's see how they handle that one too. It doesn't quite match up well for Houston, other than that comeback in them is it always happens. They're always in it. They always get back in the game. All righty. Kansas City has won 4 consecutive seasons as the AFC West champions. Andy Reid, formerly a Eagle coach, head coach, now with the Chiefs, is 15th career postseason appearance. That is Hall of Fame stuff. With Kansas City, he has won 77. Let's see. He has 77 wins since becoming the head coach in Kansas City. That is the second most overall the past 7 seasons, other than New England and Belichick. Okay? For Houston, they won the South, second consecutive year. Okay? Won their first playoff game since 2016. Bill O'Brien advanced for the second time in his head coaching career out of the wild card spot, but they have yet to get to the championship game. Okay, those are your numbers right there. Key players of the game: Hopkins, the lineman of Houston, Tunsil, and quarterback Watson has to have a big game. For Kansas City, they have a lot of star power. And even half of them show up, they're in a good spot. But Frank Clark, the defensive end, a Pro Bowler, Hardman, Pro Bowler, Tyreek Hill, Pro Bowler, Chris Jones, defensive tackle, Pro Bowler, Travis Kelce, and Pat Mahomes. Got a lot of star power in Kansas City. All righty, real quick, and we'll move on to the Green Bay game in Seattle. But before I do, besides Damian Williams for Kansas City, LaShawn McCoy is also a Chief, and he is also a very dangerous one. He's got over 600 yards from scrimmage. Both him and Williams teaming up together is a solid running back position for the Chiefs. The numbers may not be high, but by committee, between these two dual running backs sharing the time, Williams and McCoy, Kansas City looks a lot better than most people don't quite understand on offense. They are dangerous, as we know, but don't ignore that running game. It will be even better if Kelsey's in the game and catching footballs, which you will be for Kansas City. I don't know how Texans can cover all this tomorrow in Kansas City with an average defense. But no, J.J. Watt is playing. He does make a difference. He's a player, and he can make one big play that can change the game to help out Houston, and that's what they need. They need players to come up big for Houston. Players got to be stars this time of the year, as we always talked about. You got to be stars. If you're a star, then play like a star. I'm going to move on to the next game. We're going to say hi to more people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, our people in Australia, the fan base out there, good luck. Stay safe. I hope everything's okay. I know you watch the show when you wake up. I know, you're halfway around the world, but a lot of them talk to me during our nighttime here in the States. And they tell me about what's going on over there, their life, and how they're dealing with things. And they love their sports. They love their American sports, American football. And we talk a lot. I talk to a lot of Australians throughout the night. And sometimes it's like 2 in the morning and I'm still up and they're like, mate, hey, mate, what are you doing up, mate? Just me. Sometimes I just stay up. I like 24 hours. I love life. And sometimes you just got to sleep. And I do. I find ways. All right. Juan in the house. Iones in the house. Cecilia, I got you, Cecilia. Michelle in the house from the UK. Someone out some love out there. Sly in the house. Todd says immune system isn't the best. His stuff isn't working up to fight off the stuff. Who are we talking about? Oh, your parents? Tell me, Todd, who is dealing with some medical issues? Lorraine in the house. Jessica in the house. Kenny Salinas in the house. Is that hair weighing him down? Yes, it is. See it right here? I got little locks right there. Okay. Is that Jamie? Oh, Jaime. Jaime in the house. Holly Larson in the house. Denise Rebel in the house. Hey, Denise. Billy Reynolds in the house. One more sip of my gold milk. You want to know what gold milk is? Before I get into the Packer gold, right? Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. All right. Here it is. Before we finish off the last part of the show here. Gold milk is basically original almond milk. The good almond milk, not the crappy ones with all this extra stuff in it. Go for the organic version or something like that. Or rice milk, like Rice Stream. Something very healthy, very good, okay? Make a big cup like this. Warm it up. Don't want to boil it, right? But as it's warming up, you want some organic powder, spices. You put in turmeric. There's the gold. The gold is the turmeric. Drop it in there. A teaspoon amount. Then you take some cinnamon, like a half a teaspoon or less of cinnamon. Drop it in there. Then you take ginger, organic ginger also, powder. Drop that in there. That gives you a little a little spice, but it's really good for your body. And also that turmeric is a very calming for your spirit, your soul, your blood, your internals. All right, that's turmeric. And then you have that cinnamon, which is also very healthy spice. It does wonders for the body too. And the milk itself. Do not use cow milk and things like that. There's other elements that are not good for your body. So go the other way. Go the alternative way. Warm it up. Get it nice. Get it hot. Get it hot. It's much better than a hot cup of cocoa or a hot cup of coffee, whatever it is. Great nighttime going to bed drink or waking up in the morning when it's cold. Gold milk. I don't know if you can even see it. You can see a little gold around my rim there. That's about it. My YouTube people. Okay. All right. There you have it. There's your gold milk. Okay. And your spices, those are the only three. And drop it in there and to your liking. If you want a little extra watt, put it in there. But use those three spices and have a good time. Warm it up. Then not like a warm. Make it hot. Get a little singe on your lip a little bit. It's fun. I like it. Not bad having hot lips, right? You like to have hot lips? Go for it. Alrighty. My immunity system isn't the best to fight stuff off. No. It's fine. It's, you know what, this, in the desert in Arizona, where our studios are, for the most part, allergies aren't horrible. But when we get rain, and we just finished our rainy season, things will bloom big time because it's a lot of sunshine here. So we get this whack, strong, powerful allergy hit. And for the most part, I've done well with it. The fact that I'm getting an allergy hit that is a little longer than normal is because I need to go back into a detox mode again. And I don't know, I like to detox my body, clean out whatever it is that's causing stuff. And this is one of them. I've done a couple of strong detox in my life, and my allergies just disappear. This is an indicator to me that I need to do it again to clear out the system. So I'm ready. I'm building up for it. I'm slowly breaking down and going more into a liquidish daily life of intake. as I'm trying to get better. But allergy is an allergy. You don't want it to escalate into a sinus infection and things like that. So you drink your alkaline water. It's water. It's the best not purified, balanced water, plus minus. Drink your alkaline water. Drink a lot of it. I mean, don't stop. I'm telling you. And ever so often, I'll drop a couple of drops of oregano oil in my body and soul to clear out and destroy. It's like an antibiotic. It is an antibiotic, oregano oil. It is. It is a huge, godly thing that was given to us. So, but maintain a high hydration when you have allergies. Do not stop drinking. You may go to the bathroom a lot because you got a lot of water running through, but keep it going, okay? And you'll survive. And keep warm. Your body likes to stay warm when it goes through this. And we'll see what happens, okay? I may lose some weight. I'll probably lose about 5 to 10 pounds when it's all said and done. Maybe not 10. Probably like a quick 5 will drop. But we'll go from there. All righty. One more football game. And then we're going to wrap it up for this Good Friday. The Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. Weather is going to be in the low 20s Sunday night in Green Bay. They've had a lot of snow already. There's no snow in the forecast. It's just going to be cold. There's no wind, just cold air. So it shouldn't be that uncomfortable for Seattle. Seattle plays outdoors. Seattle has dealt with weather. I don't believe this is a factor in the game unless it's so cold that some players can't handle it. 22, 25 degrees is not devastating for football players, especially when there's no wind involved. And the wind is at a low. Now, this can change, but by the forecast, it looks it's going to be comfortable for a cold weather game in Green Bay. So when you hear about frozen tundra and all this stuff, ignore it. It's going to be cold, but it won't be the devastating stuff with wind in your face, cold tundra. Okay? Seattle will be fine. Seattle has Russell Wilson. He's a Wisconsin guy going back to Wisconsin where he played college ball for a couple of years. What a great scenario for him to go back there in a playoff game and try to knock out the Packers. There's love for him in Green Bay, but not on Sunday night. Not on Sunday night. Here's your matchup for these two teams. Green Bay's all-time postseason playoff record is 34-22. For Seattle, 17-16. They have played 5 teams that are the common opponent, meaning Green Bay has played Carolina, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. For Seattle, they play the same teams. Okay? Green Bay is 3-5, while Seattle is 5-1. They played Philadelphia twice. That's why. Seattle lost to San Francisco in that last play of the game. Remember that one? Where Green Bay has lost to San Francisco and Philadelphia. So just for whatever it's worth. Scoring points. Green Bay has scored 24 points a game. Seattle scored 25 points a game. There's a balance right there. Nobody has an advantage. By the numbers, Seattle's defense, which is injured and beat up, 25 points a game they're giving up. So this is where it can turn a little bit for Seattle. Green Bay, 20 points a game. So there's a little bit of an advantage right there for Green Bay as we're going to go through the breakdown of this game. Offensively, Seattle has more yards per game at 374 average, where Green Bay's 345. Not major. We're talking 20 yards, but that 20 yards can mean a field goal or not for both teams, right? Passing the football, both quarterbacks, you got Aaron Rodgers, who always is dangerous, but not having an Aaron Rodgers season that we are supposedly used to, right? 95% quarterback rating, where Russell Wilson is at 106. Okay. Running the football. This is really strange. Seattle has no running backs. They're all hurt other than Marshawn Lynch, who just got back and played, who just returned to Seattle. He's their leading rusher with 34 yards. Don't know how much of a factor he'll be in Green Bay. But we have to watch to see if he is a positive factor for Seattle that really can help out Russell Wilson. They need a running game in Seattle in a big way to go up in Green Bay, to give Russell a balanced attack so he can do the play action, the RPOs, and throw it deep and long like he likes to do. If not, this could be a tough one. But let's see how Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay deals with stuff also. Now, they have a good running game. They got a running back who's tied for the league with, let's see, well, he ran over 1,000 yards, Aaron Jones. His average is tied for the league at 4.6 per carry, 16 touchdowns. That's leading, tied for the lead, okay? Receiving the football, Devontae Adams, 997 yards. Tyler Lockett, a little over 1,000. Both those guys are making catches at a rate of 12 yards per catch when they catch the football. Defensively, Green Bay is still giving up some yardage, 352 yards a game. Now, let's think about this for a second. Seattle's giving up 381 yards a game. Let's go back up to the offense of both teams. Seattle is averaging 374 yards a game on offense. That is basically 3 touchdowns, maybe 4 touchdowns, right? Think about their average. They're averaging 25 points a game. So they're caught right in the middle of 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, every game, Seattle. For the money and for what it's worth, I still see Seattle finding their way against that Packer defense to get to their average of 25 points. 24, 26, 23, 27, right around there. They're going to be right in that area. Okay? For Green Bay, averaging 345 yards a game. Seattle's defense is giving up 381 yards, okay? Now think about this. That means Green Bay is also going to match and get their average of 24 points a game also. Where does it break? Where does it change? Who has the advantage here? I believe Green Bay has the advantage. They're healthier, for one. That is a big deal. Seattle's not, they've lost a lot of players. So a lot of these numbers are different because players are out, players are hurt for Seattle that are a part of these statistical numbers and breakdown that we're going through. And if they're not playing, then who are you? Seattle struggled last week in Philadelphia with their offense. If that happens again, they don't win the game. They will not win this game. They got to get to their average in the mid-range of 20s, like 24 to 27 points. They got to get there to have a chance to win. And Green Bay, the same thing. But for Green Bay, if you're getting 25 to whatever points, 24 points, you're in a better spot because I think you're going to win this game, Green Bay, like 28 to 24. You know, something like that. Okay? But here's one more key factor. Giveaway takeaways. Both these teams are tied at a 12 plus, meaning they have taken the ball away from their opponent. Turned the ball over. They have made them turn the ball over 12 plus times. For Seattle, they have caused 32 turnovers, but only recovered 20 of them. So we're talking fumbles are in there. When you fumble the ball away, for Green Bay, 25 potential turnovers, but 13 recovered. Seattle seems to be like a team that has a little bit more of an edge of getting that ball out, but they're still both a plus 12. Who has the advantage in that right now? Nobody. But in the game itself, whoever can get that advantage, and Seattle needs it more than Green Bay, I believe. And we go back to the three elements. The three elements: turnovers, special teams, and penalties. Whoever can win those three battles, everything else will take care of itself. We cannot decide and judge and predict anything because it's impossible to predict special teams, penalties, and turnovers. Very difficult. This is Fox. This game is going to be on Fox with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Okay. Packers have won the North for the first time, NFC North for the first time since 2016. Let's see this. Their coach, rookie coach, Matt LaFleur, makes his postseason debut. Is that a good or bad? Jim Caldwell, Jim Harbaugh, Steve Mariucci, George Seifert, all rookie head coaches, won 13-plus games in their debut as a head coach. Green Bay ranked fourth in the NFC in scoring defense and tied for third in the NFL with 17 interceptions. They do have Aaron Rodgers, 2 Pro Bowlers for Seattle. Seattle, where are you, buddy? Pete Carroll has gotten Seattle to the postseason 10 times. 8 of his last 10 seasons as a head coach, I should say. In the last 10 years, he's gotten to the postseason 8 times. Seattle's franchise record of 7 sacks last week against Philadelphia is alarming. If they can get to the quarterback again against Green Bay, that will be a big factor in Sunday night's game. All right, Seattle doesn't seem like they're the strongest team in the playoffs with all the injuries and how they looked and performed last week. Them and Houston seem like the two teams that never – seems like they're more an iffy average team at the playoff spot. Like, I don't have a lot of confidence in Seattle and Houston going to the Super Bowl. I don't. But Seattle and that team always finds a way to stick around a ball game. And every game, the last 27 postseason games in the NFL, the last 27, have been decided by 8 points or fewer. Which tells me there's a really good chance that all these games will be decided on the last few minutes of the game by one last possession or potential one last possession. An onside kick is bound to happen in this game for a team to have a chance to pull off a miracle. Right? That's how close it's going to come down to. 8 points sounds like a lot, but when it's one possession, it's not a lot. It's just one play, one opportunity to make it happen. So to close out this show with NFL preview of the NFL divisional playoff games that start tomorrow, late afternoon, evening here in the United States, and from wherever you are around the world, check out your local listings for that. We got a primetime game tomorrow night also, 2 games, and then Sunday, basically not as late in the day here in the United States, but later in the day, late afternoon, and early evening starts. Again, check out the weather forecast itself. And I'm not giving predictions, but I'm going to root for the Vikings because they haven't won anything, and they've had a lot of tough luck in Minnesota, losing Super Bowls. Like to see finally get one out of the way. Vikings Chiefs rematch of Super Bowl 4 is what I would like to see, but who knows? At this point, as I close out the show, I'm going to get the music up. And we're going through some credits right now on the live streaming on Global Sports. Is this? It's GSPN, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Anybody in the playoffs right now can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Houston and Seattle may be at the lower end at 7 and 8 seeds at this point in the Super Bowl chase. But for watching all these teams playing on every Sunday this season, they can beat any of these teams in the playoffs right now. There's no given. There's no great dominance team, even in Baltimore. They still got to do a lot of work, and their road to the Super Bowl and winning it all is not going to be easy, and they know it. Enjoy your football this weekend. We should expect more close games, and I'm looking forward to it right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna. This is Hanna Time, live on YouTube and live on Facebook and globalsportsbroadcastingnetwork.com live stream. Going to say goodbye to you guys, and we'll see you on Monday. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. I love you guys. And try some of your gold milk that I talked about. It's a good thing. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. A good Friday. All right, YouTube, we'll see you guys.